In today's episode, we're going to talk about all things editing on your Janome 550E or your 500. So want to learn what all those buttons mean on your editing screen? Stay tuned. Welcome back in. I'm Shannon, your embroidery specialist here at Janome Junkies. And today is part 2, all things editing on the Janome 550E, and it also applies to the 500 as well. It's been the long-awaited video to the part 1 we dropped just a few months ago. So if you haven't seen that video, we'll put the link in the description below. That's all things fonts and all things designs. Today we're going to bring it home and we're going to talk about editing. So by the end of this video, you are going to be an expert on rotating, mirroring, copying, maybe adding some letters to your design. So let's jump in. We're going to get started, and everything, as you remember from our part 1, always starts on what I call the home screen, which is this little house up here in the right hand corner. And so if you remember from part 1, we talked a lot about your designs, your built-in designs on the machine, and we also talked about the built-in fonts. Today we're going to spend most of our time in the editing screen, which looks like a little grid. So we're going to click on this. And whenever you click on the grid, if you've done any work, this is just going to be an auto response that will come up. And if you have any designs that are not saved, they will be erased. So we're going to go ahead and press OK. So right now, when I press my hoop, I can actually select the hoop that I want to be working in. I'm actually going to stay in my 8x8 hoop, but if you wanted to select another hoop, you could do so at this point. I'm going to X out, and you can see up here that it's got my square 8x8 hoop. Now, if you look at the grid, the plastic grid that goes on top of your hoop, it actually, all of the squares in the grid will match up to the grid that you see right here on your editing screen. Just a little tip. Now that we have our editing screen open, we're going to pull a design in, and we're going to go through some of these great functions that is built in right on this machine. So we go back to our home button, we're going to go into our design folder, and I'm just going to search for a design. And you can scroll through the variety of designs. In my case, I am in an 8x8 hoop, but I'm just going to select a design that's going to work for our video for today. And I'm going to select this little fun floral design here. Whatever design that you select, when it gets transferred over to your grid, it will always end up right in the center point of your grid. Okay, at this point, you have a couple options here. You can take your design with your stylist and you can move it wherever you would like your design to be stitched out. So that's really nice. You have complete and free control. I'm going to actually put it right back into center. And we're going to start talking about these buttons down here. So the first button here that we're going to talk about is a copy button. So I'm going to press it and you'll hear a beep. And I'm going to press it one more time and you'll hear another beep. But you probably are wondering, I don't know what you're doing. Well, this is a copy function, and what happens is the last location that your design appeared on the grid and you copied it, it will lay over your existing design. So if I take my stylus and I move my design, that's one of my copies, and here's my second copy. So I hit that copy button twice. It landed right on top of my design, and I can move them wherever I would like. Let's say I don't know that I want 3 and I just want 2. You can highlight, and when you highlight your design, there's a little green bar or box that will be the perimeter of your entire design. It's probably hard to see, but once you have that green design or you click on it, there's a trash can here that you can simply click and that design will go away. All right, so the next button here is going to be where you can increase or decrease the size of your design. Now most of these built-in designs can be increased up to 120%, and they can be decreased down to 80%. These designs in the machine can be increased or decreased the way that the design was built. Now, the machine itself is not a digitizer, so we can't actually make it larger or we can't make it smaller, because if we did do that, it would distort the image. So we have an option to even go in increments of 1 if we wanted to do that. When you've got it set the way that you like it, you always want to press OK. If you press X, it's going to end up in the original size that it was in. So I'll go back and let's click here. You have to press OK and then it will save it. All right, now let's move forward to our next folder here. And we've got some additional buttons here, some great features. This one right here is our rotate button. And so you have the option to rotate it 45 degrees, or you can come over here and rotate it 45 degrees. And then if you wanted to do it in increments of 1, you can do that. Or you can go back and you can do it in increments of 1. Now we're going to come over here to our next button that sort of looks like a hamburger. And we're going to click on this. And what you'll see is it actually flipped the design. Do you see how it's flipping the design? So you have an option to sort of flip that design. And then on this one, you can also flip it. So we have backwards and forwards and side to side. All right, so I'm going to actually go back to my home button, and I'm actually going to pull another design and walk through some additional features just so it's a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to pull the owl up, and I'm going to copy a few of these owls. So remember, she always will end up center. I'm going to copy her. There's one. I'm going to copy her again. I'm going to copy her one more time. Well, let's just make one more. So now we have 5 owls, okay? So now what we're going to do is forward through our folders here, and here's the hearts here. So this is like a grouping function. So when you click on the heart, you can actually highlight the designs that you want to group together. So you have a couple options here. You can move them individually, or you can group them. So let's say I'm going to highlight this little owl, and this little owl, and this little owl. So I've now highlighted these 3 owls. There's a green box around each of these owls, and I'm going to press OK. So now these owls are actually grayed out, and I have grouped these 3 owls together. So let's say I just wanted to move these little guys in a particular location, and then once I like that location, I'm going to come back in here and select my heart icon, which is my grouping icon, and then everything else will come back together. So again, I can group designs or I can move them individually. This button right here is your save folder. So it will auto-generate a name. So let's say you wanted to come in here and rename it, and I'm just going to call it Owls. All right, and I'm going to press OK, and I've renamed it Owls, but I've got to choose my folder to make sure that it's actually saved on the machine. I'll click the EMBF folder and I'll simply hit OK. And now that particular design that I made with my 5 owls is saved on my machine called Owls. So if you're watching our editing video and you haven't watched part 1, which is really about all designs and all things fonts, make sure you watch part 1 video. It will go hand in hand with the editing video that I'm doing with you today. Again, we'll drop that link in the description below. Give it a watch once you finish up this editing video. So now we're going to talk about this color wheel here. I'm going to actually pull in another design just so it's a little easier to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to actually delete all of my owls. And I'm going to go pull another design. And let's say we're going to do, let's pick something cute. Let's do a little fun design. So it's got 4 colors here, And I'm going to show you something that's kind of fun to do. I actually don't use this a lot, but if you want to change colors in your design and you want to see how it looks before you actually stitch out, this is where you could do that. So here it's going to show me my first stop is green, and let's say I wanted to change it to blue. I'm going to move forward to the next stop, and here it's yellow, and let's say I wanted to change it to red. I'm going to move to my next stop, and let's say I wanted to change that to pink. And I'll move to my last stop, and let's say I wanted to move that to orange. And then I've just now changed the colors of my design. I want to press OK, and here you'll see all of the new colors on your design. So this is a nice feature if you wanted to see how the colors would lay out on some of your designs. Again, you would be threading your machine by each color stop, but if you wanted to see visually what that design would be, that's what the color wheel is for. I'm going to actually find another design. I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete this design. All right, so I've got two owls here, and I'm going to click on my little thread spools here. Now what this is going to do is actually group my colors. So what that means is if I didn't hit this button, it would actually stitch out my first owl, and then it would stitch out my second owl, which would mean you would have to change your colors on this entire project and then come back and do it again for your second owl. And what I love about this feature is if you've got two owls, maybe you have four owls, you can click this button here, and it's smart enough to know that these have the same colors, and so it will stitch out all the brown, all the light brown, all the white, and all the orange, instead of doing it in duplicate files. So if you see here, I have 8 colors in 18 minutes. And so that means my original owl was 8 colors, but it's now going to stitch out. I'm going to press my little flower button here. It's going to stitch out the brown of the belly, and then the light brown, and so forth. So it's grouping the colors for each design. We have another great feature here. It says 1, 2, 3. Now, what this is let's say that, let me go ahead and pull another design in, and I'm going to find, let's find this little tree here. And this 1, 2, 3, think of that as a layered file, meaning how you're going to stitch your designs in a layered effect. Now, if I wanted to bring maybe my owl up on my tree, if I wanted to do that, maybe I want them up in the tree and I wanted one like down here somewhere, then this is a fantastic feature to use. So how this would work is I'll bring my little owls down. You want to click on the 1, 2, 3, and then you want to click on what's going to be stitched first. So in this case, I want my tree to be stitched first, and then I'm going to select my owl and my other owl. So now I've just told it, stitch 1, the first design is going to be the tree, the second is going to be my owl, and the third is going to be my owl. And then I can move my owl up into the tree, and I can maybe move my owl, I mean, we probably would not do this, but this is just to show you, you can actually make it a layered effect. So now it will stitch out the tree first, then the owl, and then the other owl. Now you hit OK. I'm going to hit OK, and you can see how the design is. So it'll stitch out the tree first, and then your first owl, and then your second owl. So if you ever wanted to do something layered where something is in the back and you're trying to put something on the front, that is when you would use that function. I'm going to hit my back arrow button to go back to my editing screen, and I'm going to actually remove the tree. So I've highlighted the tree. I'm going to come back to my trash can, and I've just removed my tree. Now I'm going to keep working back with my owls, and if I click one of my owls, again, there's a green box around my owl, and if I click my little crosshair, that design will be centered. So let's do that one more time. Let's say I wanted to have this owl centered. I highlight it and then centered. Now, the crosshair with the 4 hearts is actually going to take this design and put it in the 4 quadrants in a rotating way. So if I press my little owl and I press my crosshair with the 4 hearts, you can see here I have 2 up and then I'll have 2 down. So it just copied everything. So I have 2 up and then I have 2 down. Now, let's say you have a design that you only want to use one color. So let's go grab another design, shall we? Let's say I really just wanted my tree to be a single color. I don't want my leaves to be different colors. I can click this and it says sew all layers without stopping to change colors. And I'm going to hit OK. And now you created a design that's in one color. Now, it still says it's 6 colors, but think of that as your 6 color stops for each of your leaves and your branches in your tree trunk. So what this design will do is just stitch continuously, no stops, with one single color. All right, so let's talk about adding a design and a word to your design, because we're probably going to all do a little bit of monogramming. We're going to add a name to something. So let me show you how to do that. It's so easy. We're going to go into our design file and let's go find a cute design. Let's see here. Let's do rocket. Let's do a little space rocket. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go to my font tab. And if you watched the first episode on how we put in fonts, it's the same way. So I'm going to go to a medium-sized font. I'm in uppercase, and I'm going to put the word Jack. All right, and then I'm going to press OK. So now remember, anything that you add to your editing screen, it's always going to be put in the center. So I can move this around. So I've got my rockets and I have my name, but I don't really like my name exactly in that location. So what should we do? We're going to rotate that name a little bit. And I'm going to move this up, and maybe that looks okay, but there's another feature that we haven't talked about yet, and that's this little magnifying glass. And I'm going to click this. I'm going to make this as big as I can, and I can see here my design, and I'm going to move this around, and I can tell my word needs to be a little closer to the rocket. So we've got some arrows here. That's fantastic. I can move my design up and over and down, but I still want to rotate it just a little bit more. And I'll hit OK. And let's say I want to move it up just a little bit more. And again, you can use your stylus, or you can use our up and down buttons here. So I think I'm going to rotate her just a little bit more. And once you like the exact location of your name or whatever you're monogramming, just hit OK. And now I've got my little rocket with my name Jack on that. Now let me go back and let's pretend we want to take Jack's name up here and we want to click this little guy. You can actually curve it if you wanted to. You have a lot of control on where you want to place your letters, whether you want to curve them, the exact location. Again, you can use this magnifying glass, again, to get that perfect spot for your design. So you can make sure it's right where you'd want it, which is really nice, a nice feature to have on this machine. So if I like my design and where everything looks like, I just press OK. And we're right back to our Ready to Sew button. We're still in our 8x8 hoop. My design is 5x7 by 5x7, stitching out at 600 stitches per minute. This design has 5 colors and will take 27 minutes to stitch out. So what a great way to personalize any of your projects. Learning how to edit on your Janome 550LE or even that 500 gives you full creative freedom to make any design that works for your projects. Whether it's a single needle machine like the one we were working on today, or maybe you might need a multi-needle machine, Janome MB4 or maybe an MB7, give me a call at 813-661-9000. I'm here to match the right machine for your needs. Give us a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already, because you don't want to miss. We drop videos like this every single week. Educational videos, inspirational videos, and just you need to be in the know on the news on Janome Junkies. Until then, I can't wait to see what you're stitching. We'll see you soon.